Welcome to another episode of Gary's Wisdom. I'm your host today, Gary, and today we're going to be talking about there's monsters everywhere. You need to protect your children from monsters. Whether you're a guy, you're a woman, or you're a girl. Boy, whatever pronoun you want to call yourself. Them, they, she, whatever you want to call yourself. If you're a parent out there, you need to focus on protecting your children because there's monsters every day. We go past them every day. How would you know if that's the monsters? Monster hides in plain sight. Why? Because they know it's not acceptable to the public. It's embarrassing and it's humiliating. Nobody wants to have a bad reputation. Everybody wants to look good. So with that being said, you need to make sure that monsters don't get the opportunity to take advantage of their sick urge to harm your child. It could be a babysitter. It could be your dad. It could be your brother. It could be your sister. Now, some people might say, well, Gary, that's crazy. This would never happen. My brother would never do this. My dad would never do this. My friend would never do this. It happens to people. It happens to people. Some of those people on the Jeffrey Epstein files didn't even know their children was on the files. They kept it to themselves. They kept it to themselves. Some people out there, stuff that happened to them, they don't share with nobody. And people wonder why they upset or a little bit thrown off or have mental illness. How would you know what happened to your child? How would you know something bad happened to them? Never underestimate the possibility of possibility. You might put your child over a babysitter, over a friend house, and they might call and say, hey, how's such and such doing? Oh, they just sleeping right now. They had a bad headache, had a bad headache, maybe had some type of food reaction or something, had a stomach ache, just went to sleep. How would you know if they wasn't assaulted? How would you know? You don't know. You're not psychic. Not unless you're there, you don't know. You're going off the trust of your child to be able to come to you and talk to you. But you don't know. You was not there. And I'm here to tell you that if there's people out there, there are people out there that's keeping their trauma to themselves. Because if they sit there and say, hey, Uncle John did this to me, Uncle John touched me, or Aunt Sarah touched me, or Dad touched me, it's going to be a whole big commotion, and somebody's going to get in serious trouble. It's not going to just be, okay, all right, thank you for telling me, no big deal. Family going to get involved. People going to be judged. They're going to be asking the child questions. Did he really do that? They're going to have to make a statement, probably to the police or to the parents and stuff like that. These are very, very uncomfortable conversations to have for a child. So I'm here to tell you, protect your children and don't underestimate the possibility of possibility. That's all I'm saying. Now, some people out there have cameras set up in people's houses and they don't even know about it. They come from their children. Some people take their children to daycares that have cameras. They have access to cameras. But I'm here to tell you that don't just focus on the Jeffrey Epstein case like he's the only monster out there because he has money. Monsters everywhere. The jails is filled with them. Being able to pay attention to your child behavior. Talk to them. Have conversations with them. Find out how they act towards you, which you already know how they act towards you. But you also want to know how they act with other people. Pay attention to the behavior. Pay attention to their eyes. Because they might be around Uncle Johnny and you might say, hey, what's up? What's up, brother? How you doing? And stuff like that. And then that child might have glimpses, just might be like, or it can be anybody. I'm just hypothetically speaking, but you got to pay attention to behavior. Don't just be in Mars. We don't live in a perfect world. We do not live in a perfect world. We live in a world filled with monsters. We have good people in the world, of course, but there's monsters there. There's monsters there. They're there. And they don't have to just be, okay, it's a stranger down the street. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be a friend, family member. Hear what I say. It could be a friend or family member that can be the monsters closest to you. Don't underestimate the possibility of possibility. So wherever your child goes anywhere, whether it's Auntie Sarah, Uncle Johnny, pay attention to their face reaction. Pay attention if they sit there and say, hey, I want to visit Uncle Johnny. I want to visit Aunt Sarah. Or you say, hey, we're taking you to go see, you're going over Aunt Sarah's house for the weekend. See their reaction. Is it fear or I just don't want to? You don't know. You don't know. But you have to pay attention. Because if you don't pay attention to your child, a lot of people out there, parents, they just let the phone be the babysitter. They let the phone be the teachers now. These children out there, they reading podcasts, they watching Kim Kardashian life story, they're looking at social influencer. They are the teachers. You have to be the teachers. You have to pay attention to what your child is learning on a day-to-day basis. Very important. Because once the seed is planted, it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And your child might become something that you're not even aware of. Or something might happen to them that you're not even aware of. You need to pay attention to your children. Your child can be having a relationship with a grown man online. This stuff happens. If you don't pay attention to your child, how can you protect them? I'm not sitting there saying, hey, you can protect them for 24/7. That's not realistic. I get that part, but you can pay attention. Having children is a 24/7 responsibility down to the school. The school. Is they being bullied? Is they being abused? Is they being hurt? Is some kids out there selling their bodies for money without the parents knowing? You got to pay attention to your children. You have to pay attention to your children and the type of influence that you're setting around them. Because there's a lot of kids out there, they seeing their parents doing despicable stuff in front of them. They're afraid to come forward. Pay attention to your children. Care for them. Love them. Pay attention to what they're learning and who they're learning it from. And teach them the most important thing, right and wrong. But unfortunately, we live in a world where some people don't even know the difference between right and wrong. Some people don't even set good examples. So the child suffers. But only thing I can say is this: your child have eyes. I remember things my mom said to me when I was 11 years old. That was like a long time ago. I love you all. Be there for your children. Love your children. And protect your children as much as possible. Put in the work. I love you. Thank you for watching Gary's Wisdom. Peace.